opportunity cost and loss. And it's kind of, in particular, we have lost our library that we're going to kind of concentrate on. That we felt like that we were able to save a little money on by doing a few different things. And I guess first, I have to have a video of part of the flood of what happened. And if we're ready. Now, if you want to watch through that window right there, that's really where you're going to see things. Oh, there it goes. Plane stuff. Okay. Yeah. Oh, there it goes. I don't know if you guys could see, but you see everything coming past that window? And the water under the door? Oh. But the first thing you saw in that video coming past was, did everybody see it okay? Okay. Was, there was cabinets that came shooting by at about 20 miles an hour, I think, maybe 15, and then followed by desks, and then this shelving unit right here is actually a space saver shelf that's mounted pretty securely to a wall. And it ended up on the other side of the room. And as you can see, all the water coming in under that door and filling the entire library. Our library is approximately, the basement of the library is approximately 10,400 square feet. And there was not 1 inch of the library that didn't get filled with water. At least, like you see, this is almost a 7-inch baseboard right there. By the time this is done, it's right up to the top of the baseboard. And maybe a few rooms way on the other side only got 3 or 4 inches, but you know, they all got at least 3 or 4 inches of water in. And as you'll see in some of my slides, sometimes a lot more. Okay.
What caused that?
What caused that is we had the 100-year flood that we have twice a year, every other year. and I'll show you more in detail what caused it. But this is our library. It's only about 7 years old or so it's fairly new, fairly nice. This is a floor plan of the basement. It's a pretty good size. I wanted to kind of show you where some of the water came from. This is the rear or north side of the library. We have a big area on the side here. Right there, that's a 12-inch storm drain. And then all along here, about every 30 feet off the side of those trees, there's a 12-inch storm drain that comes down that grass with a drain about every 30 feet that also runs into the storm system. That's another side of the library. This is Town Square. This is a big lawn behind the library. Another part is Town Square. In this area here, you can see the potential for all this water because for about 3 blocks, both sides of the library, and about 10 blocks north of the library, all the water from the whole town comes right down to a low point, and the low point happens to be dead center in the back of our library. And, and it's a real problem. I mean, you can just imagine the water, just in these areas that we're going to pick up, and then you take the whole city back to the hills on the north and add to that. This is where the problem was. We have a small wall with a guardrail around our cooling tower pit. And this door right here, that plywood, leads to the basement. And there was so much water, and this is actually on the west side of the building, and probably between the low point, which is near the middle of the library, and here, there's over a foot of elevation gain to this point, plus another 8 inches of this concrete wall. To give you some idea how high the water was. These walls are really slick, and they didn't show much of a line, but see that those leaves in that window? The water line was about a foot up on that window in this room before this door burst, if you can imagine. So most of the cooling tower and was submerged, and there's an 8-inch drain there. But you know, all those drains, none of them were clogged when we checked them after the flood, not one. They just simply overwhelmed with water, with the volume of water. That's another picture of the video, which is good. I guess, of course, you saw everything come shooting past there, and then luckily, this door here was closed and held for you know, thankfully, or we had, well, I'll show you how much water. Well, let me show you where it went first. Okay, our cooling tower is right in here, 2 cooling towers. This door here, after about around 10 feet of water in that pit, burst. And you can see it came shooting here first, into this little hallway, blew the doors open on this bathroom, kitchen, came into there. This office was a mess. It actually knocked drywall off of these walls. And then the video, the window is right there where you're looking through the camera. So you saw desks and cabinets and everything come shooting past here. And you know, that space station shell blocked the view, but it just kept washing all kinds of stuff out of this storage room into this area here. There was a cubicle system in this entire area here. There's 4 desks and cubicles. They were just flat. Bent desks, bent drawers, metal desks and drawers. Luckily, this equipment room was a good heavy steel door, and it was closed, and it held because right here inside this room is our main electrical panel. And luckily, it's up on an 8-inch slab, and then it has, you know, a little bit of elevation for the switch gear itself, the panel itself, because we did get 8 inches of water in this room. Figure if we'd have got another 6 inches of water, we'd really had a problem, and it, you know, would hit the main panel. This also here, this door was closed, so we didn't get too much in our pump room. You know, probably only about 4 to 6 inches, and there's a pretty good drain right here. So it drained quickly out of here also. But, you know, this door being closed and holding, and this door being closed and holding, just kind of saved a little bit in the rest of the driveway, and the rest of the library. But you can see that water coming here. No place do we not have at least 4 inches of water, and maybe 8 inches of water. Storage rooms, bathrooms, just everything was a mess. Floating, it was something to see. This is a break room. You can see chairs, tables. You see how high it got in there. The refrigerator, when I came in, I had, you know, waiters on up to about here, and it was fairly high on me. That refrigerator was floating around in the break room. You could have got in and paddled around that big back section of the library if you wanted to. But, you know, of course, everything, the bottom of the cabinets. This is a locker that flew from the lockers in the other room, which were attached to the wall really well. You can see all the mud damage. Oops. What did I do? I guess I better have you fix it. Here. you know, it blew the breaker on every receptacle down there. Copiers were affected, you know, you can see the water line here on these shelves, floating everywhere. It's just a mess. This is the restroom, the staff restroom. You know, that's where they keep the dirty books in the library. It's just, I mean, it is incredible the amount of books, boxes of books that were, those are full, heavy boxes of books. They're just washed into that little bathroom. You know, a few inches of mud on the floor. Just incredible. This is called the mending room. You can see the carpet there. See, I just peeled the carpet and piled it up. You know, even tore wallpaper off the wall in places. It is just going to be incredible power. This mending corner was a built-in workstation with a metal desk attached to the wall in here, and then attached to this this wall panel. I mean, it was, you know, a good secure thing. There were file cabinets back here full of files, and you can see the only thing left is this panel laying down and the bent, ruined desktop. This chair rail was just hanging off the wall. I don't know how it got enough force to do that. Probably when it pulled the desk off. Here's kind of more of the same in that same area. You know, carpet, basically, it just peeled the whole carpet up in almost this whole room. Same thing over here. This cabinet right here was an L-shaped cabinet. And when I first came in, I looked at that. The door where it came in was right over here. I looked at that and I said, where is that cabinet? And it took me about 5 minutes to find it. It was all the way over by the mechanical room, and it was covered with boxes and carts. And I just thought, where, you know, at first I thought it just broke apart and disappeared. Just incredible, the power that was in that. And then the mitigation, of course, I got somebody in right away to help me out with this. This is, they got a fan in here a little prematurely because I made a decision just to get rid of all the carpet because there was so much more. What comes first? The first thing I did was check the building safety. Although, you know, I got there after the library director and a few other people, and they were in there wading in the water in their bare feet. You know, and so the first thing I did, told me to get out, and I checked the panel, made sure all the breakers are off, and before we could go back down in there, I decided not to power energize downstairs because, you know, of course I'm afraid that someone will get shocked and they'll get water out. So I had a company bring some temporary power in. Luckily, we have a master plumber on staff. I had him come in and check, make sure we didn't get any back flushing from any septic, or we actually had a sewage ejector in the basement of this building, and make sure that didn't contaminate anything. Then I called for a professional, and I ended up choosing Service Master. But I didn't just look in the phone book and call somebody, and I think this is really important on saving money and minimizing the cost of loss. About 7 years ago, we leased a little building to the state, and we had a fire sprinkler in the attic freeze, and of course cause a mess, but just in 2 bathrooms and a hallway. And the state called the flood and fire company. And by the time I was called and got over there, they'd been in and gone and were supposedly done. And I came in there and there was still an inch of water on the floor. They didn't cut any drywall up, and you know, supposedly they were taking care of this for the state. You know, so I had to bring my crew back in, and luckily it was, you know, a small one like that. We'll come in with shop bags and take care of everything ourselves. But I thought, man, you know, what if I had a disaster and I picked these guys out of the phone book? This wouldn't be good. So, you know, I kind of skewed about that actually for several years. And so about 3 years ago or so, I decided I better find somebody beforehand. So I looked in the phone book and I called all the larger companies in town and some of the smaller flood and fire companies. And, you know, I asked them some questions. So I could get to know them. You know, some of the first things I asked them, I interviewed them, and I asked them questions like, would you be willing to work with me and let the county do some of the work? And you use your expertise and help us and supervise. Because I want to, you know, I don't want, if I can help it, to hire you to do the work, sorry, you know, but you know, I want to minimize the costs. And I found, you know, of course, some of them thought that was just fine and others didn't. And I did consider quite a few companies. And, you know, some maybe as a backup. You know, yeah, that's our elevator, by the way. It's pretty terrible. I asked them, I found out what kind of equipment and resources they have too. Like, you know, how many fans would you be able to bring on your site? How many dehumidifiers? Do you have temporary power? What kind of extraction equipment, especially in a water job like this? If they don't have a big pump truck, you don't want to call them because they wouldn't have never have been able to do the job. And, you know, that enters into it. And so actually I ended up getting to know about, 5 flood and fire companies, you know, fairly well before I got started on this. You know, several years before this next, actually. I asked them for references. I asked them if they had any jobs that they completed that I could look at and talk to owners. And to tell you the truth, whenever I hear there's a flood and fire in town, I kind of drive by and look, and if I can, I'll go in and see how it's done and what they're doing and whether they're doing a good job. And so eventually, I was more impressed with Service Master, what they could offer me and the way they were willing to work with me, that I decided on them. And so I already had them in my phone, and the minute I heard there's water in the library on the way over there, I had called them and they actually beat me there. Of course, I hadn't got references. That's one of the bathrooms, and we ended up cleaning the floors like 3 or 4 times. One time we came in and cleaned it, and I mean, it took like 4 times to get these floors cleaned. That's about the second or third go in that restroom. Get any tear out done as soon as possible in a flood. The morning I got there, as soon as the water was extracted, I had inmates over there in my group. And you don't want to do it like that. That's an inmate job. Although inmates are great with great supervision, and I'm sure we'll see that. This is the door where the flood came in. And this is the start on what we're doing. I already had the inmates in, pulled the carpet out completely and hauled it up. That was my next call at flood and fire, was I need a dumpster like yesterday. Keep them coming. So, then I got the carpet out. They started putting equipment in to dry it out. You just see the sheer volume of content in a library like this. I know you're at a loss where you have flood and fire company do the content, but it's incredibly expensive, and understandably so. Now we're lucky on these books right here because they were already cataloged. They're new books, brand new books, and they accepted that we could account by a label for every one of those books. But we had tens of thousands of other books that wasn't the case. This is where they started drying out the stairwell, and I did things like, this is the first day still. I had an inmate go around with a drill, even though I plan on taking the drywall off of here I kind of drill holes to start ventilating those walls right now, you know. Within 3 days, if you don't get it off there, you'll have a smell. And that leads to even bigger problems. This is our elevator pit. You can see the water line. This is the floor line. And this is how high it came up in this elevator pit. And, you know, naturally I had to have that elevator repaired now. I don't know how expensive they are. Another shot of the elevator pit. This is the back kitchen. It probably got the least water of anywhere. And I drilled this, and I was hoping just to get away with it. And I also, you can't see it, but I drilled holes under those cabinets in the kit because I wanted to get away with not removing cabinets wherever possible. I did end up removing these cabinets because, you know, I had the flood and fire guy with me, and he would come in and monitor everyday moisture. And after the second day, he just told me it's not drying fast enough. So I went ahead and told him. And, you know, I'm sure I was much further ahead than get a mold problem or a mold problem. Once again, every one of these need to be cataloged. All these CE cases need to be cleaned. Or, you know, if we didn't do it ourselves, we would have probably just thrown those away. But we had 3 employees down there that were basically out of a job till the mess is cleaned up. And so, you know, it's just mind-boggling. I don't think I could have done it on that myself. It's pretty tedious. But look at the volume of material. And this is one small room where this is. We had 2 bigger conference rooms that were filled. I mean, there was just walking aisles around the edges filled with content. I tried to repair things wherever I could. Like the refrigerator in the bake room, I had them haul it up onto the sidewalk, and I took the back off of it and cleaned it and checked the electronics, and it's working great to this day. Other things I didn't even try to fix. Probably just weren't working. We set up one of the employees, and this is the women's restroom, and it was kind of their staging station to catalog missing items. I had inmates bring things up that were good, and we cleaned them on the sidewalk on that north side of the library with the flood and fire. Really good. They loaned us a pressure washer for like 2 weeks for free. And the library director himself and one of the women that worked downstairs in tech services and some inmates cleaned every piece of furniture that we felt was salvageable in the entire library. Some work furniture and file cabinets. Just a big job. Then I wanted to decide what really needs to replace. Any electronics that I couldn't get into easily, we just got rid of. They had 3 copiers down there, you know, fairly expensive copiers. And I asked the library director to think of ways that we could save money, and he came up with a bunch of great things. Instead of getting 3 copiers replaced, we bought 1 copier and, you know, just got rid of the 3 that were removed, which saved, you know, the price of 2 copiers. Furniture, they had a lot of chairs downstairs. The internet area used to be downstairs, and they had probably, you know, 15 chairs that they didn't need down there. And instead of replacing them, they just got the chairs they needed and saved the money. Tables, there were a lot of old-fashioned tables around there, and they were able to upgrade to the new plastic ones, but they didn't need nearly as many, and they were actually a big cost savings. You know, they had half as many tables as they needed. And just like any building, after a year, you build up all kinds of stuff that you don't need. And rather than replace things that we don't need or use, like these clips and these, they don't use them anymore. and yet they're fairly expensive, and some of the women talked about getting them replaced, and some of the men, and I said, we're not gonna replace something we don't use. And the library director was great on that. This is a cabinet that you see in the video that came shooting by, and Lawson actually looked at we had to repair all the cabinets except the ones in that small kitchen. Look how much that swelled, 3/4 there, and some of them were an inch and a quarter, just from being swelled by the water. All the face frames, it's all quarter sawn oak. They were all good, and so we just basically had the cabinets rebuilt and threw the old drawer fronts and frames on them, and you'll see a picture in a little bit, and they look just fine. This book right here, I believe we had like several hundred of them. That's volume 121. Those books are like $150 each. But they were a book that no one checks out, no one uses, and the director made the decision it's not to include it. And that was a big cost savings. This is the cooling carpet again. This part of the split system that did our server room, it was ruined, and we had to replace it. But I'm sure many of you have your own HVAC employee that's dedicated to their department or for your county, and we're just able to replace it for cost, which helps out, and we try to do that as much as possible. Reconstruction, that's kind of the done deal. How it looks now and again might do, but you'll notice the spaceport. A lot of it was ruined in the other room there. And when I priced the quarter sawn oak, I thought, oh my gosh, I don't want to spend this. And so I went around the library and looked, and I found a lot of areas that I felt didn't need a baseboard. And I was paying about $1 a foot for carpet base. So I replaced a lot of it with carpet base, which enabled me to have enough of, I even took it off some walls where I felt we didn't need it, and then I was able to use that extra material to put back what I needed to put back instead of purchasing new. And it came out looking great. When I got prices on the reconstruction on the drywall, I was getting bids the first day that it was dry enough to walk down there on the drywall and painting and anything else we needed. And I would say by the 4th or 5th day, I had 3 bids on everything and ready to let the contracts. And I thought, the drywall bids and drywall companies, they were all wanting, I think they thought I was born yesterday, they were wanting like $8,000 to $10,000 to put the drywall back. And I had a painter that I use a lot, that I used to patch drywall and then paint in a lot of areas. I asked him, I said, do you think you could do the drywall? And he said, yeah, you got 2 guys on my crew that patch drywall all the time. So I had him, I kind of made a bargain with him. The bids on the paint were virtually within like $200 or $300, of each other's. And he was like right in the middle. And normally I take low bid no matter what, unless I know someone who can't do the job. But I told him, you could save me a lot of money on this drywall, and you do the painting also. And he did the drywall work for about half of the lowest bid of the drywall contractor. And I thought that was great. And he saved me a lot of money, he did a great job, and he was in there, and then the drywall's finished, he's, I'm throwing chair rail and base back on, and he's painting, which worked out really well. There's another one of that's this was just ripped off the wall from that back corner and washed it with lantern and that locker. is more of the equipment. Like I said, to make sure the bids are competitive. And another problem, now that I come to think of what we had first, is I had inmates on their first day, and I would see them carrying cabinets up and getting ready to throw them in the dumpster and things like that. What are you doing? Oh, well, that lady told me to throw them away. Well, so finally I had to stop, and we had a meeting, and to ascertain, number one, who's in charge of the who's making the decisions. And I guess we kind of came to the director and I would make any decisions. They weren't to throw anything away unless we told them to. Privately, I had the director tell me that he'd tell me before he had anything thrown away. And because I find inmates will do almost anything anybody tells them if you don't tell them any different. But otherwise, they work great. And it's sure a lot better than doing it yourself. But I don't let them use any power tools besides like a vacuum or something like that. I know that sometimes others do. But I've never been able to mess up the inmates. They're just horrible, and I think they save the county more money than any other one thing was having inmate labor and also the library employees who work on it. Probably goes without saying, I always make sure everybody has liability and insurance. And I actually had theirs, the company that did the work, on file. And you can just see how much water is in there. It was just an incredible amount. And what a mess. I substituted things where possible. I already talked about the baseboard that I used carpet base in place of wood base. And also, this, I think this is torn off. There was sisal on 90% of the walls in the basement. And sisal is very expensive. So I made the decision to go to a wall carpet. And it's like probably 80% cheaper than I could get the sisal for, and I tried to look to do that, without giving anything up. The wall carpet was very durable, and I think personally that it looked much better. And so we did that, and I would say we saved like 75% on the wall covering by replacing it with carpet. And I love the carpet base. It looks great. That's our new carpet. I already mentioned this. We don't want to turn it into insurance just because of that. I always kind of take the idea that, like with USIP, the county indemnity pool, that we're part of that. That when we're on something like this, we're kind of, if we save money, we're not saving USIP money, we're kind of say that we're saving ourselves. And I felt that being a part of that, makes us more responsible for, not trading in frivolous things. This is one of the carpet walls, there was no reason to have a chair rail on that wall because they just hang children's posters and activities and things on there, and actually the chair rail got in the way, so I was able to eliminate that. Another thing I did, while the painters were in there, restating, the new base and baseboard and things like that we put on. I said, hey, how much more to stain every little nook and that you find down here, And there's a lot of little nicks from wear and tear down there. And he said, oh, we'll just do that for you. So I'm like, wow, that's great. And we got an upgrade there. One thing we had to watch, though, is sometimes an employee, like one of our employees, drug at a desk across the new carpet and ripped it. And she went and found the carpet guy and said, hey, I want you to repair this. And he did, but then I got a bill for like $500. And I just said, what? And of course, I called his boss and said, hey, are you really charging me $500 for 2 loads of carpet? And he goes, oh no, but still, you gotta, I try to impress everyone all the time, and especially the guys that work for me. I say, never tell anybody, just do it. I say, how much? Every time. Because just from past experience, it's not a good idea just to tell them to do it. It doesn't work good. Another thing with forest things that you might think weren't affected by the flood, but this is cabinets. We had a lot of these pretty high wall cabinets on there. And for some reason, the moisture or something made them loosen up. It was kind of hard to tell, but up the top of all of them, they were starting to hang away about a 1/2 inch. And, you know, those are heavy cabinets. They fell on somebody, you know, good night. And so, you know, we went around and reattached every one of them, whether they needed it or not. This is after we reconstructed this building. That's what the desks look like when we're through. Now, we did everything we could. I had a company rebuild the cabinets, and I just kept the drawers and face frames, whichever ones that we rebuilt there on site. And we reinstalled them, you know, my crew and inmates also. And we did the countertops ourselves, which was a big savings. And, you know, anything I could think of that we could do ourselves, we did. And our, you know, I made sure the subcontractors were okay with that, you know, and they all were, and especially in our flood and fire guy. He worked with me, loaned us things, you know, without payment, and it was really good. Be creative. This is our elevator control room. And the water got up to 30 inches plus in here. You can see these vents. There's a hydraulic tank with no lid on it in there. And it just barely, you know, if it had been a 1/2 inch less, we'd have been okay. And of course, you know, it fried the main board and controls down here and plenty of other electrical. But also a little bit of water washed up into that hydraulic fluid. So, you know, it all had to be pumped out. And I thought, oh man. And I was thinking, you know, the other day that it's almost time to renew contracts and bid the elevators out of government. And I do it every 3 years. And I thought, you know, so I went and looked and I thought, wow, you know, it's up in a few months. So I went and asked them, I said, you know, I got a price on repairing the elevator, and just to redo what was in this room was over $4,000. And I said, if we renew, what will you do for me? And they came back and said, well, you pay for parts, we do all labor free. And so we said, we'll do the cleanup in the cars, everything. You know, we'll check everything in the pits, and you know, it was a great deal. But of course, you know, I wanted to do my diligence. So what I did, just to make sure I wasn't making a mistake, I called my counterpart at the state and asked him, you know, how much he was paying per elevator, for a similar elevator. And I called my counterpart at the city, and also I called the local Dixie Regional Med Center, the guy that does the maintenance there. Also, they all told me what they were paying per car for a similar elevator per soft vendor, and I was paying much less than them. And when I bid it out 3 years ago, it was, you know, much less than any other company. So I felt good about renewing. So I went ahead and renewed the contract and picked up virtually thousands of dollars there while trying to be a little creative. Prevention. This wouldn't be complete without something, you know, we don't want it to happen again. I had asked several years ago that this rear of this library be engineered for water and you know, in case of a flood. And this is what we did. We capped the wall on top of this up to the level of the floor. This is the cooling tower bit. And I just had my guys, I hadn't put in that when the concrete company did the wall, I had my guys read the rail. Several weeks before this, it had been raining a lot, before this happened. And before the accident, I actually had this sandbag up to like 4 feet. And I can't find out who did it, but I know it's somebody from City Parks and Recreation came in the week before this happened and moved all the sandbags. And so I'm confident we wouldn't have had a problem, but I felt like it's my fault because who would ever think that sandbags are any kind of solution to a problem like this, except for in an emergency? So, but I was still unhappy. But anyway, we did that, and then this is window well. We added that all the way up before the library. Right here, where that bench sits, is the lowest point, and it's right in the center of the library. It's the lowest point, for blocks going uphill, and where it all drains to. Probably didn't need it here, but I figured I'd just better do that just for the heck of it, just in case. You can see these steps here. We did have water up to this step right here. But I figure if it gets any higher than that, every house and building everywhere is going to be destroyed. But I've also put in a test for them to engineer that, for the future, just in case. This is kind of library. I believe when we're finished. Well, that's not a great finish. There, that's finished. They have a lot of stuff on there. The shelf. This is the shelf that was washed off the wall, walking through the window. This is what the children's area looks like now. Cabinets, we saw this line. This is where the cabinets are finished. We saw that. These are some items we didn't replace. Extra chairs, 3 printers, outdated items, unneeded furniture. We have a lot of the cubicles and built-in desks that we simply have no use for. We didn't replace them. Used books, donated books. Some of the damaged shelving we had no use for, so we didn't replace them. The initial assessment of loss by the adjuster was $450,000 at a conservative estimate, according to the adjuster. Our actual loss was $160,000. So I felt like that we did pretty good. The adjuster's original estimate cost of the dry out and tear out was $125,000. Well, I wanted to show you this. They came back, they sent the county this bill for $36,000, our disaster service. And I thought, man, that just seems like a lot of money. So I thought, it's not going to hurt. I went and asked them. I said, hey, I called you for a thing in the past, and I'll probably continue to use this. What can you do for us? Can you do something on this bill? And they got back